Hey, good morning, everybody. Sorry for the delay. I could not connect this morning, so I had to reboot my computer, and then everything was fine. So who knows, some kind of glitch. But welcome to the Twilight Zone. We are in a new reality where now Fox News is suggesting gun control. We also have Melania saying that the scrutiny that just happened uses the word illuminates the need for preemptive intervention. We also have Carolyn Levitt saying that demonic forces were at play. And what else we're going to talk about today is Peter Thiel, which is scrambled the Reptile, is set to reveal the Antichrist in an upcoming lecture. You guys, today's theme has to be the pot calling the kettle black is where all this is headed. Everything is getting mixed up together. Things that used to be a slam dunk for conservative values are no longer the case. Everything is getting mixed up together. Now, let's start with this bizarre circumstance surrounding the Minnesota scrutiny. We're calling it scrutiny because you're not allowed to talk about this stuff. This is the headline from The Hill. Melania Trump calls for a preemptive intervention on scrutinies like this. Now, how exactly can they plan to do that? How do you preemptively prevent something like this from happening? This is sounding more and more like pre-crime, which would dovetail right into Trump's agenda, Project Gotham, Palantir. They've already admitted that they're doing pre-crime right now with artificial intelligence. Still scratching my head as to why the truth community isn't making this front page news. This is huge. Project Gotham. Melania Trump, Minnesota school scrutiny illuminates need for preemptive intervention. First Lady Melania Trump weighed in on Wednesday's scrutiny, arguing it illuminates the need for preemptive intervention in identifying potential scruters. That would be a pre-crime profile, wouldn't it? Welcome to the Twilight Zone. Early warning signs are often evident, with many individuals exhibiting concerning behaviors and making violent threats online prior to their actions. Then that means that they're going to go into your private profiles and listen in on you, determine who is a threat. So I tell you guys, sometimes I'll warn you guys in the comments. Look, we're a free speech. Well, there's a couple rules, but you can pretty much say whatever you want as long as you're nice. You're not attacking anyone. But some of you you get upset about this stuff. And I'm like, hey, you got to be careful what you put online, because that gets flagged and then they start monitoring you. Not that you would really do anything, but your words mean something to these people. And so this is where it's all headed, you guys. Now, the Bible promises us that if we're wise as serpents and gentle as doves, we can navigate through this landscape. So there's no need for fear. Don't be afraid just because you're showing up to this channel or liking a video. There's way too many people for them to have to deal with. But will they try to pick you off for things that you say? Absolutely, they'll try to do that. It actually happened to a couple people in the truth community in recent history where they did or said some things that got them into trouble. One guy, they arrested him because he had like a gun on his live stream and was saying stuff about Obama. Another guy showed up to YouTube to protest and they arrested him on threats. So you got to be careful. This is why I told you guys, do not go to the crapper hole. While some of my peers were telling you to do that, I was like, are you guys crazy? That's a honey trap. And sure enough, it was. And the rest is history. Yes, we can assemble here and talk about these things. But if you start like making statements or threats about what you're going to do, it's done. It's over. That's exactly what they want you to do. It's a trap. It's a trap. Now, let's keep going with this. Let's see what Melania has to say. Notice how her message dovetails with Trump's message and Palantir. They're all speaking with the same tongue. To prevent future tragedies, it is crucial we look into behavioral threat assessments across all levels of society. Wow. Behavioral threat assessments beginning in our homes, extending through school districts, and of course, social media platforms. Being aware of these warning signs and acting quickly can save lives and make American communities safer. Two children were. Now, some people also noticed that the 17 people that were injured kind of dovetailed in with the movie Weapons that we just decoded. There were like 17 as well. That's weird. The scrooter, identified as 23-year-old Robin Westman, barricaded ammunition. No, not ammunition. Annunciation. Wow. Freudian slip there. School door during the scrooting, and then they say he took himself out. That's how it always happens. That way there's no way to actually, determine, question the guy or anything like that. They just wipe away all the evidence. Now, it's not just Melania calling for pre-crime. We also have Fox News talking about gun control. Let's listen.
Now, these kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in.
I mean, you guys, is it just me? Are you getting the same vibe from Andy Sook?
A church. These are kids that should be learning with their friends. They should be playing on the playground.
Wait, who is this guy? Let's read this. Fox News, Trey Gowdy drew the fury of President Trump's grunion-loving MAGA base when he dared to talk about possible grunion control in the wake of the scrooting. Our system is reactive. Something bad happens, we react to it, he said on Outnumbered Panel Show. What people are crying for now is how can we prevent this? How can we stop it? The only way to stop it is identify the scrooter ahead of time, pre-crime, or keep the weapons out of their hands. So there you go. People will start freaking out, but guess what? It's already too late. People should have got the memo back when, during Trump's first term, I tried to tell people he's not for the Second Amendment. You can't set up a system and endorse a system where an angry ex who wants to ruin your life can write a one-page complaint, send it in to the local judge anonymously, so you don't even know who's coming at you, and say, oh, one time he said that he wanted to pull out his grunion one time, and he had alcohol, and all of a sudden you have armed men showing up to your house in the middle of the night, which there's a 25% chance that you're going to think that's an intruder, not the cops, and you're going to grab your self-defense mechanism and defend yourself, and then you're gone. And they'll be like, what happened? Oh, it was a standoff. But really, the officers didn't correctly identify themselves or just busted your door down with a no-knock warrant, and you're gone. Why? Because an ex sent in a one-page complaint saying that you're a risk. Extreme risk protection order, red flag law. And Trump said, take them now, ask questions later. That's exactly what he said. So MAGA should have got the memo back then during his first term. I don't know what's wrong with people. They're not thinking. They think with the right-left paradigm instead of their brains. Of course, he wants to take the grunions. Why do you think he's on board with Palantir to do pre-crime? Of course, that's what they want to do. It's been the agenda all along. It doesn't matter what side. They just pretend to be for Second Amendment rights. And then we're the dummies. The conservatives were like, wow, he's got to be better than Biden and Kamala. Just because they don't say they want to do something. Well, he did say he wanted to take them. You got to look at their actions, you guys. And now here we are in a new era of artificial intelligence. drones, surveillance drones, Reaper drones flying over American soil. And now they can come right out and say what they want to do. And so we will see. Now, check this out. Carolyn Levitt says demonic forces were at play. So she's obviously virtue signaling the Christian right, try to keep them in check as they talk about grunion control, right? As they talk about this, now they're going to weaponize the Christians, keep them in check. Demonic forces. Well, no, a press secretary has never said that before. That must mean she's a Christian. Press Secretary Karen Levitt shared a post to Instagram that asked people to pray for the victims following the tragic scrutiny. A look at the full post originally made reveals a second slide that blames a demonic force. Full post reads, there's a demonic force moving when a TG maniac, look at your screen, can't say it, sprays bullets at pews. So they're weaponizing this on several levels. Of course, Christians are going to get on board against the TG. This has been the meme all along. You either have a middle-aged white male, which would be your domestic terrorist, right? That's the profile. Or you're going to have a guy with orange, purple hair who's one of these. These are the two things they're pushing, and they created this paradigm. Or they allowed it. The left did their part to create this paradigm, and the right did their part to create the middle-aged white male, soldier or former veteran, young veteran. So we've got two scenarios here. And the whole goal is to disarm America so they can run right through us with minimal casualties or minimal resistance. Just like China. The goal is for us to be like China. Don't believe any conservative that's telling you anything different because they know what they're doing. Now, this is crazy. I can't even believe this, you guys. Like, this is so obvious to me. Now, ready for this? Wow. Let's pull this up. Open image in new tab. Open image. Oh, here it is. All right. This is Peter Thiel, of course, the Reptile. Scramble his name. And it says the Reptile. And he is a self-proclaimed Christian, apparently. He's about to give up while he's launching Project Gotham. Let's look up Project Gotham. Hold on. This is unbelievable. I'm sorry, guys. I just can't believe more people aren't awake to this. It just blows my mind. So this is Project Gotham. All right, go to the news tab. I got to keep showing you this. Otherwise, people are going to forget because the rest of the truth community isn't really talking about this. This should be front and center. In March, President Trump signed an executive order calling for the federal government to share data across agencies, raising questions over whether he might compile a master list of personal information on Americans that could give him untold surveillance power. Mr. Trump has not publicly talked about the effort since, but behind the scenes, officials have quietly put technological building blocks into place to enable his plan. In particular, they have turned to one company, Palantir, aka Peter Thiel, aka The Reptile, the data analysis and technology firm. The Trump administration has expanded Palantir's work across the federal government in recent months. The company has received $113 million. New contracts, Homeland Security and Pentagon. This doesn't include the $795 million with the Department of Defense. Representatives of Palantir also speak in at least two other agencies. Social Security, Internal Revenue, about buying its technology. According to 6 government officials, it's a complete technocratic takeover. The push has put a key Palantir product called Foundry into at least 4 federal agencies. DHS, Health and Human Services Department, widely adopting Foundry, which organizes and analyzes data, paves the way for Mr. Trump to easily merge information from different agencies, creating detailed portraits of Americans based on government data is not just a pipe dream. Trump administration has already sought access to hundreds of data points on citizens and others through government databases, including their bank accounts, numbers, the amount their student debt, their medical claims, and any disability status. Mr. Trump could potentially use such information to advance his political agenda by policing immigrants, punishing critics, Democrat lawmakers, critics have said. Let's get into Gotham. Let's see. Its main products include Foundry, a data analytics platform, and Gotham, which helps organize and draw conclusions from data and is tailored for security and defense purposes. In an interview, Mr. Karp, Palantir's chief executive, said the company's role was the finding of hidden things by sifting through data. And let's go back here. Let's see. Let's see. Here's News Nation. Same thing. This guy. Pre-crime. Go to Gotham. Palantir Gotham is an intelligence defense tool used by militaries and counterterrorism analysts. We already know that. Pre-crime. So there you go. Pre-crime. Now, so this whole lecture that he's going to give on the Antichrist, which is just, again, the kettle calling the pot black, is going to be down in San Francisco, headquarters of the self-described drafted to the other team, Peter Thiel. Where are they going to do it? At a place called the Commonwealth Club. So I looked up the Commonwealth Club. And guess what? It's run by a former Defense Pentagon official, Gloria Duffy. Commonwealth Club of California, run by a former Pentagon official. Oh, nothing to see there. An attorney and foreign policy expert, Philip Yoon. Who's Philip Yoon? Let's see here. I don't know. Now, what else is going on? If it couldn't get any worse. Now, don't live in fear. Look, if 20 million Americans are sharing these videos and talking about it, they're not going to go after all 20 million Americans. Do you understand how this works? All we're doing is talking about it, okay? But if you hide and say, oh, I shouldn't share that video, I shouldn't talk about this, then they can pick us off one by one, those of us that are trying to warn people about what's coming. This is why it's so important to share the videos, you guys. There's strength in numbers. As long as you're not saying anything crazy or doing anything crazy or making any threats, you're good. This is why I've streamlined the channel to where you got to be careful who you collaborate with on YouTube. Okay. Some people have violent ideologies, or they tend to speak in a way that it can be construed that you're going to go do something or that you're inciting violence. No, we are peaceful here. We're not inciting anything. Yes, we have ideas about what's going on in the government, but we go by Jesus rules, which is peace. I would never, ever do anything or tell you to do anything. Heck, we don't even show up to protests because they're traps anyway. So, and they collect your data and they put you on a list. But if 20 million people, this is why the relevance was so important. This is why I keep talking about it. If 20 million people are talking about it, they don't have the resources to go after 20 million people, nor would they have the public sentiment to do that. People would start to wake up and they would lose the information battle. Now, let's talk a little bit more about this. This is insane. Antichrist 4-part lecture series. Now, thanks to the folks that told me to look into this. The Acts 17 Collective. So this guy's posing as a Christian. This event is sold out. And part of the event crosses over the Hebrew New Year this year, September 23rd. It falls on 9/23 this year. And What else is going on? Well, never ever forget. We're going to read this, but never ever forget that it was the self declared Christian Peter Thiel that used to transfuse blood from young boys to maintain his youth. Trump delegate and Gawker bankrupter Peter Thiel is no stranger to the idea of increasing his lifespan through science. I stand against confiscatory taxes, totalitarian collectives, and the ideology of the inevitability of death of every individual. On Bloomberg in 2014, he explained that he was taking human growth hormone pills as part of his plan to live 120 years. Oh, wait, let's get to over here. Peter Thiel wants to inject himself with young people's blood. Why did that story cut off? Uh, okay, let's try this one. This is from 2016. Boy, I don't even like to cover this stuff, you guys, but it needs to be talked about because wise people go to church. Their pastor tells them, vote for Trump. Oh, trust him. Oh, Peter Thiel. Oh, he's just a guy. He's a Christian. We have to believe him, take him at his word. Because that's judgment if we don't do that. Oh, forget about him transfusing blood and, Project Gotham and all that. Forget about all that. Everything's fine. Trump's the best. What's the alternative? So I have to show you this stuff. I don't like doing this, but I have to show you because it's the truth. More than anything, Peter Thiel, a billionaire investor and Donald Trump supporter, wants to find a way to escape death. He's channeled millions of dollars into startups working on anti-aging medicine. Now, does this sound like a real Christian to you? We know that when we try to preserve our life, we lose it. And if we lose our life, we save it. That's in the Bible. Okay? That's in the Bible. Our hope is in the next world. We're not supposed to be here on this world so we can be kings of the universe and live for 500 years. That's not supposed to be the goal of a real Christian. And especially if you're infusing young people's blood to try to live longer. That's about as demonic and vampiric as you can get. Because then what's the end game? Right? If you're willing to take someone else's blood, okay, what are you going to do next? Are you going to stock blood banks and secretly buy blood out of the blood banks? If you're a billionaire, are you going to throw your own blood drives at colleges to get that young blood? Or, heck, let's take it a step further. Why not just birth in people with no social security number or identity and just lock them in a basement and take their blood? What's stopping you from doing that if you're this rich? Absolutely nothing. He's channeling millions of dollars into startups working on anti-aging medicines, spends considerable time and money researching the therapies for his personal use, and believes society ought to open its mind to life extension methods that sound weird or unsavory. Speaking of weird and unsavory, there's one thing that really excites Thiel. It's the prospect of having younger people's blood transfused into his own veins. Now, I guarantee you, today's video will sit at 2,000 views. It will not go out to people because they've got their boot on our neck because we're hitting nerves. We're hitting the truth. The only way this information is going to get out there is if you guys talk about it and share it on your Facebook, your YouTube, or whatever. Other channels, I don't know. But sometimes it feels like I'm talking to nobody except for the people that just come to this channel. I'm putting a lot of my life at risk to do this for you guys. It'd be real easy for them to just chop me off, right? Never hear from me again. And then it's right back to the right-left paradigm for everybody. That practice is known as parabiosis. And according to Thiel, it's a potential biological fountain of youth, the closest thing science has discovered to an anti-aging panacea. Research into parabiosis began in the 1950s with crude experiments that involved cutting rats open and stitching their circulatory systems together. After decades languishing on the fringes, it's recently started getting attention from the mainstream researchers with multiple clinical trials underway in humans. considering the blah, blah, blah. So, anyway, it is said that he walks around with a young man that he's getting. Let me see here. In Monterey, California, about 120 miles from San Francisco, a company called Ambrosia recently commenced one of its trials titled Young Donor Plasma Transfusion and Age Related Biomarkers. It's a simple protocol. Healthy participants aged 35 and older get a transfusion of blood plasma from donors under 25, and the researchers monitor their blood over the next 2 years for molecular indicators of health and aging. So I'm not going to get into much more of this, but there's the proof. And I'm sorry, but if you're a real Christian, you wouldn't even want to think about doing this. This is about the next life, in eternity, not holding on to this life so tightly. Now, let's go back to this and read about this 4-part series and see, look for clues in this about hidden messaging, because that's what this is going to be about, right? It's going to be hidden messaging with his lectures, 4-part lecture series. It's coming up pretty quickly here. Let me check in with you guys. Look, sometimes it's tough love, right? We're the only hope for some people. Think of it like this, okay? You could literally save someone's life by sharing this information with them. They're going to think twice about doing the agenda. You could help someone not get an extreme risk protection order. You can help someone not get jabbed with something. You could literally help someone save their life in a real way, in a Christian and spiritual way, versus, trying to extend your life. This could give them a second chance to find Jesus. The work we do here is very, very important. And it's not just me, it's all of you, because you guys are boots on the ground. I'm just a guy speaking through a microphone. Now, let's take a look here. Now, just so you know, the Bible explicitly forbids the taking in of blood with the life in it. That was after the flood, and it's mentioned during the 12 tribes of Israel when they're in the wilderness. God explicitly forbids it. Somebody asked me about blood transfusions. It's kind of the same thing as what he's doing, but with a different excuse. The excuse is to preserve your life because you've lost a lot of blood in an accident. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to judge you if you need a blood transfusion if you get in a car accident. What I am here to tell you is that the Bible says that the blood is the life. Let's look it up. Okay. Bible says about drinking. Let's see if this comes up here. Let's see here. Usually they show the scriptures. There's one in Genesis, there's one in Leviticus. Blood should not be consumed because it represents life. So you might think, oh, well, that's drinking it, Casey. Well, guess what? It's way more effective, way past drinking the blood to shoot it into your veins, right? That's way worse than drinking it, because when you drink it, it goes into your digestive system, right? And there's what's called a first pass effect. It's still bad. The Bible says don't drink it. But if it goes into your veins, that's a million times worse. That's like straight to the head. It's like a drug addict, right? You're going to get about half the dose by eating something than injecting it in your veins. This is why they inject it in their veins. So there's something holy about the blood. The life is in the blood. And even when Noah got off the ark, God said to him, just as I have given you the green herbs of the field, that was your original food. Now you can eat things that walk and run, animals. But he said, do not drink the blood with the life in it. What that means is while the blood is still alive, while the animal's still alive, you're not supposed to drink the blood. The hunters, it's kind of this weird thing they do. Some of them, when they kill their first deer, they basically, while the blood's still alive, they drink the blood. That's wrong. The Bible says not to do that. And there's a reason for that. Okay? There's a reason, and only God knows the reason. But We're not supposed to do that. It's some kind of demonic practice. So now we got a Christian, Peter Thiel, telling us, oh, let's do demonic practices. Now, I can't stand poser Christians. I'm sorry, you guys. Now, let's get into this, you guys. Let's read about this 4-part series. California nonprofit is set to host an off-the-record lecture series featuring billionaire investor Peter Thiel on the biblical figure of the Antichrist. Thiel, 57, will offer his thoughts on how his Christian faith informs his understanding of the world and how he forgot to repent of telling us to have blood boys and drink. I mean, including the areas of theology, history, literature, politics of the Antichrist, as part of a 4-part lecture series at the Commonwealth Club in San Francisco, according to a flyer for the event. Scheduled for September 15th, September 22nd, 29th, and October 6th. Thiel's lecture will explore the theological and technological dimensions of the Antichrist, drawing upon religious thinkers such as French philosopher René Girard, who Thiel studied under at Stanford University, Francis Bacon, Jonathan Swift, Carl Schmitt, and John Henry Newman. Who's this René Girard guy? Hold on. I don't know who this is, but let's take a look. This guy, oh boy, looks like Dracula's brother. So this guy was born on Christmas Day in 1923, and he died on the 4th of November. Oh, nothing to see there. Unbelievable. 91 years old. Golly. Oh, died on the 5th of November, the eve of the 5th of November. I don't know. I have no idea who this guy is. Okay, we're not going to spend too much time on that. I'll dig into that later because the guy he learned under could have huge clues, right? Let's keep going. Each lecture, which will not be transcribed or shared with the public. Wow. So unless you're there, you're not going to know what he said. Will not be transcribed or shared with the public. It's designed to form a cohesive series, and admission is only offered to the entire lecture series rather than individual dates. The event will also feature a moderated Q&A with Peter Robinson, host of Stanford's Hoover Institution podcast, Uncommon Knowledge, and an audience Q&A for attendees to have a chance to engage directly with Thiel. The Acts 17 Collective, a nonprofit dedicated to acknowledging Christ in technology and society, is the organizer behind the event. CP reached out to Acts 17 Collective for comment on Monday. The event marks the latest foray into Christian thought for the Palantir CEO and PayPal co-founder. In May, he attended the I Hear Canvas event in San Francisco, where he was interviewed by Pastor Toby Kurth. See how the church has sold out? Our church has sold out. They're literally interviewing candidates for the Antichrist who were talking about candidates for the Antichrist. During his chat with Kurth, why didn't Pastor Toby Kurth ask him, hey, are you still doing the blood boy thing? Have you repented of that? Unbelievable. During the chat with Kurth, Thiel shared his views on the 10 Commandments and identified which ones he believes are the most significant. Well, Jesus tells us what the most significant commandment is, right? Who knows the answer? What did Jesus tell us? And then we'll compare that to what he says. That's what he said. The most important commandment is to love one another. Remember, Jesus said that? Wow. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see what he said. The 10 Commandments, the two most important are the first and the last on the list. The first commandment is you should worship God. The 10th commandment is you should not covet things that belong to your neighbor. That's not what Jesus said. Hold on. Jesus says the most important commandment is, which law is the greatest? You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and your soul and your mind. This is the greatest and first commandment. Okay, so I guess he's right about that. But then he pairs it with the last commandment, doesn't he? Which Jesus did not say. Now let's keep reading here. In some ways, the first commandment is to look up, and the 10th commandment is you do not look around. And if you're too much focused horizontally on all the people around you, that's sort of a bad version you get caught up in. Oh, that's so he can run cover for himself. See how he's twisting the scriptures? He's running cover for himself so he can get away with transfusing blood boys. Oh, don't look at me, right? While he's running the world into the ground and toward the Antichrist. Thiel offered a glimpse in his perspective on the Antichrist. My speculative thesis is that if the Antichrist were to come to power, it would be by talking about Armageddon all the time. Whoa. So basically, he's saying, don't talk about Armageddon. The slogan of the Antichrist is peace and safety. Oh, could that be your buddy Trump? The Nobel Peace Prize? Which is nothing wrong with peace and safety, he said, but you have to sort of imagine that it resonates very differently in a world where the stakes are so absolute. Now, the insidious thing about this is that people like Peter Thiel will be front and center at the claim of peace and security. What are you talking about, Casey? Well, how do you offer peace and security? With total surveillance. Total surveillance and robotic enforcement will provide a scenario where there will be total peace and security, but it'll also create ultimate tyranny to wipe God's people off the face of the earth. So he knows exactly what's going on here. Where the stakes are so extreme, where the alternative to peace and safety is Armageddon and the destruction of all things, President Donald Trump tapped Thiel to implement a March executive order calling on the federal agencies to integrate data sharing practices, an order that raised fears among civil libertarians as potentially laying the groundwork for a vast federal surveillance database. That's what we talked about a little bit earlier in the show. In addition to his support for Trump, Thiel made history at the 2016 Republican National Convention by being the first openly gaydar speaker to declare, I am proud to be on the gaydar on the convention stage. And so there you go. Speaking in code. Remember, he was buddies with Vance, gave him $15 million to run in the Senate. He hired him, hired Vance to his company. These guys were buddies, one kind or another. And 90% of Christians are asleep. None of them know this. They don't care. Or they're going to call me a lefty, even though I'm more conservative than any of these people, because I believe in privacy. But the problem is you give people a couple good things or the appearance of a couple good things, and they just buy the whole package. Now, let's hop off of that. Put links to all this. So, as I told you yesterday and over the last couple of days, things are ramping up in Venezuela for an potential standoff, and things have escalated once again. Venezuela now has armed drones designed by Iran. They've deployed these. They know it's coming. You got Alex Jones saying we should invade Venezuela. He's doing his part to shill for regime change. It's coming, you guys. So what does that mean for all of us? I don't know. Trump keeps sending more missiles to Ukraine. 3,300 extended range missiles to Ukraine. He's doing the same exact thing Biden did. Some people are calling Trump a Russian asset. Some people in the European Union. Of course, no one's going to believe that now because Trump already got vetted. He already got vetted for that. We already did the investigation. There was no Russian collusion. Do you see the problem here? Do you see the problem? Trump administration offers subdued response to Russia's assault on Kiev and Europe's outrage. So he's just whitewashing this. And ultimately, what all this is, both Putin and Zelensky are in on this, and Trump. They're just killing a bunch of people on both sides. This is human sacrifice. Trump even says this. He's like, yeah, a lot of people are dying. He ain't lying. A lot of people are dying. And they all know it. They're essentially just, both sides are just killing a bunch of people. They've tricked them into doing this. If all the men stood up and said, you know what, you guys go fight it out. You, Zelensky, and Trump, who claims to be 225 pounds, get into the ring, get into a steel cage match, and fight to the death. We're tired of fighting for all you people. And whoever wins, and then guess what? Then we'll start electing people who are actually fit, who are actually real leaders, right? Who have a brain. When you know that your leader is going to go fight for you, you're going to start picking a whole lot differently than we do now, right? It's not going to matter how much money you have. It's going to matter what kind of integrity you have, what kind of person you are. How fit are you? Fitness is a reflection of good leadership, isn't it? And I'm not saying that's all that matters, but I'm tired of spilling blood for all these people, these leaders that get up there. Make them fight. We're tired of it. Obviously, they don't care about what vets think. A vet burns a flag and they throw him in jail. Very people the guy that did 10 tours in DC, 10 tours, then goes to DC to burn a flag and they throw him in jail. Who cares about your service? They obviously don't care. Let them fight it out. Like David, like King David. He fought a giant. So there you go. I hope you guys got something out of this show today. I guess we can open it up for a discussion. I'm on a bit of a tangent today, but enough is enough. I'm just tired of the lies. And I'm tired of most of America believing the lies. And nobody wants to face the truth about all this stuff. And they just keep letting people off the hook. Oh, I'll end the war in 24 hours. Okay, 24 hours, 24 weeks, 24 days, 24 months. And it just keeps going on. When's it going to end? So, all right, I'm in the chat, you guys. I'll calm down. All right, if you have some discussions, some topics you guys want to talk about, I will take some notes. Please put them in capital letters. We'll do that for let's see what it is here. It's 8:30. We'll do 2 topics. Vets are not Christians. I disagree, Lunac. There are a lot of good-meaning people that went into the military because they believed all the lies that we're trying to talk people out of. Okay? Through love. This is why I don't judge veterans. They were just tricked and deceived. They didn't know. When you're 18 years old, you don't know. There are 18-year-olds that go into the military who are more holy than all of us. They go to church every week. You guys, I run into these kids out here. Some of them come and they do work for me from time to time. The nicest, kindest, sweetest, polite. They call me sir. They are way better human beings than I am. I have to work at that to be a good person sometimes. And then I get into discussions with them and they're like, yeah, I'm going to go and enlist in the military. I'm like, oh, and I groan inside. I'm just like, it breaks my heart. They don't know. Yes, the military is satanic. And then they just buy the lie. They think Trump is good. They think these wars mean something. They don't understand that it's just a meat grinder. And they go sign up. Why? Because their father signed up, or because they think it's going to make their family proud, or because they have, they want to be a hero. They want to make a difference in the world. They don't know. They're not bad people. They just made a very bad choice, an uninformed choice at a young age. And we need to be there for them when they get out, especially when they turn their back on the beast and they try to live their lives And if you are a veteran out there, understand that we understand you. We get you. And don't think that it's hopeless and that nobody understands what's going on, and don't feel like you're alone, because you're not alone. We get you. Everybody on this channel gets you. We understand you. And the way you make a difference is in your heart. You've probably already repented of the things you've done, but you don't think there's a way back. But Jesus Christ is the way back. And then he, through sanctification, through a series of choices that you make to stand on the right side of all this, that's how you come back from this. Okay? And I'm not saying that everything that you do is going to get you to heaven. What I'm saying is it can help undo some of the things that you did in this life. If you did cross some lines, it can help you. And probably there's probably a veteran that I'm talking to right now that's out there who's listening to this going, wow, this is for me. And it probably is, but it's from God. I'm just a mouthpiece speaking through the inspiration that God's given me to talk about whatever it is we talk about each day. So it's not fair that Trump's going through the cities and getting rid of all the homeless vets who are already at a high risk for taking their own life. Now you got bulldozers coming in, taking your tent away, living off of nothing. Look, I get it. Sometimes it's like we put ourselves in exile, don't we? We put ourselves in exile because this world is so effed up that we don't even know what to do sometimes. And sometimes it's like the only answer is just to get away from everything and go like hide somewhere based on what's happened in this life. Right? So I get it when someone wants to go sleep in a tent. Heck, I've almost done it from time to time. You're like, wow, that happened to me. And that's pretty messed up. So what am I going to do now? Gosh, can I even deal with this? Can I handle this? And you just want to go be by yourself. I get it. Well, now Trump's taking that away. You can't go be by yourself. You can't do that now. And sometimes it's self-punishment. Sometimes we punish ourselves by being away from everybody. It's like, Jesus went into the wilderness. This is not anything unbiblical. Jesus went into the wilderness for 40 days and nights, didn't he? So you're supposed to be able to go do this. It's a time of testing. It's a time of getting closer to God. Oh, but Trump says you can't do that. That's illegal. Who cares if you're a veteran? You got to go check into a facility. You got to go getting, institutionalized or incarcerated. You can't just be out here on the street. He offers no alternative. Why don't you open up a park, President Trump? Open up a park for the veterans. Give them something beautiful. If something more beautiful than a city street, go open up a huge park that nobody goes to and let them sleep in the park. Oh, we can't have homeless people running around, says the people who never went to the military and did any tours and never sacrificed for anything for this country. This is tough talk today, you guys. Tough talk. So, okay, let's open up the topic here. Okay, capital letters, if there's anything you want me to talk about or address or whatever. Yes, the homeless are being swept under the FEMA rug, while 600 Chinese nationals just got let in. Oh, China's a threat. Oh, China wants Taiwan. Oh, we got to go against China. We got to beat them with our chip. Oh, we got to give tariffs to China. Oh, China's a threat. Oh, let's let in 600,000 Chinese students. Are you awake yet? I hope you are. Okay. And I'm sorry I said the F word in code. I shouldn't have said that. I'm just, you guys, it reaches a boiling point at some point. There's so many lies circulating and that people believe. And all this needs to be said. I can't not say these things to you. There is a trend going that prayers and thoughts are crossed, but policy and change is more above it. I don't know what that means. All right. More earthquakes too, says Denise. The beast system. Yes, it's obvious now. We are in the beast system. Yeah, sometimes you just got to see it, Snowball, right? Beast system 888, Donald J. Trump 888. Yep. Did you turn off the super chats? Yeah, I turned that off because another way that YouTube, they scratch back every nickel and dime they can, don't they? What they want is they're trying to push the content creators into taking money from you guys. Okay. It used to be you come to YouTube and you can support yourself. You don't get rich on YouTube, but you support yourself through the ads. Well, YouTube's scratching all that stuff back. Like they want all the content creators doing sponsorships. Okay. They want content creators selling you something, and then YouTube gets a cut and the content creator gets a little bit. But in order to really make a difference, you have to like have millions and millions of subscribers. I don't do sponsorships because we don't need to be distracted with me going, "Hey, would you like to buy a sleep mattress? You could sleep on the mattress. And then you'll be comfortable and you'll have enough sleep to where you can come back to this YouTube channel early." No, we're not doing that. But this is where they're pushing everyone. Okay. So the super chats, YouTube takes 30% of that. So if you do like a $5 super chat, only about $3 of it comes to me. Best way to give to this channel is if as many people who are able do the monthly, it's like a monthly $6. It's literally the cost of a cup of coffee. Okay. And it's automatic. It just goes right to your credit card. It's every month it's $6. And you don't even have to think about it. And Rebecca always puts the link in the chat in the beginning and the end. And if enough people did that, we would be okay. We would never have to talk about that anymore. Right. Some of you do. And thank you so much for that. That makes a huge difference. It takes a lot of the stress off of getting up and doing this every day, because it's a job, it's work. It's not easy to do this every day. It takes a lot of preparation and all that stuff. But I don't like to talk about it too much because we're not supposed to be on here like begging for money, right? So that's why you never hear me like say it. But it's there for those who are able. Now I understand many of you are sleeping in your car and they're not able. I get that. But for some of you blow $6 every single day on something. So once a month for what you get here, I think is not a lot to ask for. So thank you to those that already do and those that are able. Then we can do this forever. I don't care what happens. We can do it and everything's going to be okay. Now I've tried to create my life in a way to where I have almost, I don't have a lot of overhead. I don't have a lot of bills or anything, but it took a while. It took a lot of sacrifice to get my life to this point. So I don't require a lot at all. So, all right, what else? Did you guys want to do some open topics today? Yes, we all need to be praying for discernment because time is running out. Paul said at the last trump, and that's not it until Revelation 14, says Matthew. All right. Yeah, we got to play little games and tricks with YouTube. That's why it says entertainment on my page, because it's a way to get around the algorithms. If you say it's political, you're immediately become a target. So thanks, Duck Duck Goose. And I appreciate all of you. Are med beds demonic? Absolutely 100%. That will be the segue into like the alien covenant scenario where you get into a med bed, right? And it's all AI and all this stuff and transhumanism and claims of longevity. So Yeah. All right. All right, you guys. Well, I guess I'm going to pop off of here. Thanks everybody for showing up. Thanks for sharing this video. I know you guys are doing everything you can, but times are getting crazy and we need to start talking about these people that are surrounding Donald Trump and the decisions and choices he's making moving forward to create this technocratic society. It's all fun and games right now because he's mostly going after Democrats, right? But what happens when he's not president anymore? What happens when the Democrats start wielding the same power against conservatives? Or what happens if Donald Trump himself starts to turn on Christians? I love each and every one of you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Much love.